My family laughed so loudly when Dad said I take up space that the whole room went silent except for their voices echoing in my head. Mom smirked. My brother Jake rolled his eyes. And Dad? He looked at me like I was furniture no one wanted, but the part that broke me was when my aunt whispered, "She's just extra, always in the way." That's when I realized they didn't see me as family, they saw me as a burden. Before I continue, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more people hear stories like this. I stood there pretending their words didn't cut me, pretending I wasn't shaking inside. They were all gathered around the big dining table, their table laughing, eating, living like I wasn't even in the room. Dad didn't even glance at me when he said, "Arya should learn not to bother people. She always takes up space she doesn't deserve." My breath stopped for a moment. My hands went cold, and every memory of being pushed aside by them flashed in front of me. Birthdays they skipped, achievements they ignored, and nights I cried alone because they made me feel small. But tonight, something inside me snapped. I didn't scream. I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself. I just looked around the table, their proud faces, their fake smiles, and said quietly, "Okay, if I take up space here, I'll build my own somewhere else." They laughed again, louder than before. Jake actually clapped and said, "Yeah, right, Arya, you can't even build a shelf. You'll run back home in a week." Mom shook her head like I was a joke. Dad waved his hand to dismiss me, like I was nothing but noise in the room. But none of them knew the truth. None of them knew what I had been working on in silence. None of them knew that their useless daughter had spent months building something they never thought I could have. Something that would change everything. I walked out that night with one small suitcase and a one-way ticket 3,000 miles away. What they didn't know was that I wasn't running from them. I was running towards something bigger. Something they had no idea I owned. And when they would finally find out, their laughter would turn into shock so deep it would shake the whole family. But the real twist? It started the moment I stepped off that plane and met the one person who would flip my entire story upside down. The moment I stepped off the plane. In Seattle, I felt something I had never felt at home, space that actually belonged to me. The cold air slapped my face, but it felt like freedom. My suitcase wheel broke the second I started walking, and instead of crying like the old Arya would have, I laughed. Because for the first time, I was alone by choice. I dragged that half-broken suitcase out of the airport and took a bus to a small apartment I had been quietly renting for months. My family had no idea I'd been saving money from my remote tech job. The same job they always said wasn't a real career. They never asked what I did anyway, they only asked why I wasn't doing more for them. The building was old. The elevator shook, and the hallway smelled like paint, but it was mine. All mine. And the best part? The apartment came with an empty room I had been dreaming about. The room where I planned to build the thing everyone said I wasn't capable of. I opened the door and found the landlord's son, Ethan, fixing a broken light. He almost dropped his tools when he saw me. "You must be Arya," he said, brushing back his hair. "My mom said you're the tenant who actually pays on time. Rare around here." His smile was warm, not mocking. For once I didn't feel like extra. I felt seen. But the real shock came when he pointed at my suitcase and said, "You're here alone? No family helping you move in?" I forced a smile. "No, they think I take up space." He stopped. The way he looked at me, it wasn't pity. It was something stronger. "Then you're about to prove them wrong." The next morning I started building. Wood, screws, tools I barely knew how to use. I watched videos, made mistakes, tried again. Every hit of the hammer felt like punching back at every insult my family ever threw at me. Yet each night as I worked, I kept feeling like someone was watching. One evening I caught a shadow by my window. Someone walked away the moment I turned. My heart raced. Had my family found me? Did someone follow me here? The next morning, I woke up to something even stranger. A note slipped under my door. No name. No handwriting I recognized. Just one sentence. "You left home. But your story isn't the only one that's changing." My hands started shaking. How did someone know I left? Who else knew where I was? And the bigger question, What story of mine were they talking about? The answer showed up that same night when a knock came at my door. One that would flip everything I thought I knew. The knock at my door wasn't loud, but it froze me in place. 3 slow taps. Like the person on the other side already knew I'd be scared to open it. My heart thudded so hard. I could hear it in my ears. I picked up a screwdriver, the closest thing I had to a weapon, and walked toward the door. Who is it? I asked, trying to sound bold. No answer. I unlocked the top latch, but kept the chain on. Slowly, I opened the door 2 inches and my stomach dropped. It was Ethan. But not the calm, smiley Ethan I'd met days ago. He looked pale, sweaty, like he had run straight from a disaster. Aria? I need to tell you something, he said. I opened the door fully, and he stepped inside, shutting it behind him like he didn't want anyone to hear. That note you found. You're not the only tenant who got one, he said. 3 other people in the building got messages too, all different, but all warning them that something is changing. I frowned. Okay, but why me? Why my story? He took a shaky breath. Because someone's been asking about you. The room went cold. Who? I whispered. He hesitated. A man came by today. Tall, expensive jacket. Looked like he knew you. He asked if you lived alone. If anyone visited you, and he didn't give his name. My heart stopped. It couldn't be my dad. It couldn't be Jake. They would never leave their comfort to check on me. So who the hell was it? Ethan continued. I told him nothing, but he was angry. Like, he expected your life to be a mess and got upset that it wasn't. That line hit me hard. Someone wanted me to fail. I sat down, hands shaking, mind racing. What do I do? You don't run, Ethan said. You keep building whatever you're building. You finish it. People like him only win if you stay. Scared, his confidence shook me. No one had ever believed in me like that. Not even for a second. The next morning I woke up with new fire. Every screw I tightened. Every piece of wood I shaped. Every detail I fixed. It felt like taking my life back inch by inch. Piece by piece, the table I was building started to look real. Strong. Solid. Something I never thought I could make. But on the 4th night, after hours of work, I stepped back to admire my progress and froze. A fresh footprint inside my apartment, right next to my tools. I wasn't alone. And when I looked up, I noticed something else. One piece of my unfinished table had been moved. Whoever stepped inside didn't take anything. They touched what I was building. Almost like they were leaving a message. I know what you're doing, Aria. And I'm watching. My throat went dry. The real twist was about to hit because the next clue didn't come from the mystery man. It came from someone I never expected to hear from again. My phone lit up with a call. Dad. When I saw Dad's name on my phone, my whole body went numb. This man hadn't called me in months. Not when I left, not when I moved, not when I disappeared 3,000 miles away. So why now? My fingers shook as I answered. Aria, he said, voice cold, like he was reading from a script. We need to talk. I didn't say a word. I just listened. He cleared his throat. Your brother Jake, he's planning a family dinner. Everyone will be there. We think it would be good for you to come back. I almost laughed. They kicked me out with their words. Now suddenly I was invited. I'm busy, I said. Dad's tone sharpened. Doing what? Taking up more space somewhere else? That line stabbed me right in the chest. He hadn't changed. Not even a bit. Then he added, besides, someone told us you're trying to build something. A table? Really, Aria? You left us for that? My blood ran cold. Someone told him? Someone was reporting my life to them. I didn't reply. He kept going, voice rising. You should come home before you embarrass yourself. Whatever you think you're doing up there, it won't work. You always quit. I closed my eyes. I had heard those words my whole life. You quit. You fail. You take up space. But not this time. I hung up. Dad called again. I let it ring. When it finally stopped, a text popped up. We know where you are. Come home before we come there. My hand went cold. Was Dad the man Ethan saw? The one asking questions? Or was it someone else? That night, I stayed awake staring at the unfinished table, my table, every line, every scratch, every hour I put into it. It wasn't just wood. It was everything I had never been allowed to build at home. I ran my hand across it and whispered, "I'm not quitting." But just as I said, another sound echoed from the hallway. A slow, careful step, then another dot, then a soft tap on my door. Not a knock. Tap. Like someone pressing two fingers quietly against the wood. My stomach twisted. "Aria," a voice said, deep, familiar, terrifying. "I know you're in there." My heart started pounding. It wasn't Dad. It wasn't Jake. It wasn't Ethan. It was a voice I hadn't heard in years. A voice from my past I hoped was gone forever. "Open the door. We need to talk about what you're building." My breath froze, because only one person besides me ever knew I was capable of building anything. And he had sworn he'd never look for me again. Now he was standing outside my door. Waiting. And he wasn't here for a friendly reunion. The moment I heard that voice, every part of my past rushed back. The nights I worked in secret, the sketches I hid, the dreams I never spoke out loud. Because the man outside my door wasn't family, he wasn't a friend, he wasn't even someone I trusted. It was Adam, my ex-mentor, the one who always said I'd never build anything real. The one who stole my designs years ago, then made sure nobody believed they were mine. And now, he had found me. I opened the door just enough to see his face. He looked confident. Too confident. "Still trying to prove you're not useless?" he said. Stepping inside without waiting. I froze. He walked straight to my unfinished table, ran his hand across the wood. Irked. Double quo. "So this is what you ran away for?" "No," I said, standing my ground. "This is what I'm rising for." For the first time ever, he looked startled. I lifted one of the blueprints from my desk, perfect lines, exact measures, months of silent work, and put it in his hands. "This design," I said, "is patented. Under my name, filed before I even left home."
His face drained. "And this," I pointed at the table, "is my prototype."
"My first piece. I'm launching a furniture line for micro apartments. I already have investors." My voice didn't shake. His did. "You? What? You thought I'd stay small because you liked me small," I said. "But I didn't come 3,000 miles to shrink. I came to build." Before he could speak, my phone rang again. "Dad, this time," I answered. His voice was shaky. "Aria." "Where are you?" "Jake told us. Something happened at your old job. Someone saying you stole designs." I stared right at Adam. "They weren't my designs," I said loudly. "They were stolen from me." Silence. Then I added, "And if you want proof, come see what I built." Dad didn't laugh this time. He didn't insult me. He didn't call me a burden. He whispered, "We're coming." I ended the call and turned back to Adam. He stepped back, suddenly afraid, not of me, but of the truth. "You could have had everything with my help," he muttered. "I did better without you." Right then, Ethan appeared at my doorway. He
Had heard everything. "Arya," he said, smiling softly, "finish it. They need to see the final piece." So I worked
for hours. Sanding. Polishing. Tightening the last screw. When I stepped back, the table gleamed under the warm light. Strong. Beautiful. Mine. The next morning, my family arrived expecting a disaster. Instead, they found me standing proudly beside my finished table. The first product of my company. Dad's eyes widened. Mom covered her mouth. Jake stuttered, "You built that?" And for the first time in my life, I didn't apologize. I didn't shrink. I didn't explain myself. I simply said, "This is the space I deserve." And I built it myself. Their silence said everything. They didn't see a burden anymore. They saw someone they never believed I could become. Aria. The builder. Aria. The owner. Aria. The woman who left their table and created her own. And when they realized the truth that I had offers, investors, contracts, they understood one more thing. I didn't take up space. I earned it, and I wasn't giving it back.